I got no answer for my wonder. In lonely nights I stay up ponder, lonely drinking, slowly sinking. A million miles from you, what was I thinking? Hope it's not too late to roll to you. Rest upon your breast.
Hey, welcome back to the barn. Before we do any of the things that we just talked about doing, I just want to say, Chad, your conversation with Ben was amazing. That part of the gig isn't usually your thing. And I was like, I imagine that when we were listening to it, I said, I imagine he's a little nervous doing this right now. But man, you were awesome.
I appreciate that. I was telling somebody this. It was actually, I wasn't nervous.
Really? That's great.
And it was the only time that I never had notes. You know me. I mean, looking at notes right here, I'm usually a note guy. I want to have something written down, you know, when I need it. But I didn't want to do notes with him because I wanted it to be as natural as possible.
You could tell.
And we had a bunch of views on that. So anybody that tuned into that, we really appreciate it. I think the message is incredible. His story is incredible.
And if you haven't, you need to go check it out. Just go check out our conversation with Ben. You didn't need notes. You're a big part of a lot of that journey that he's gone through. So no notes needed. There was just experience to fall back on, and it showed. And man, I'm so proud of Ben on so many levels. But man, I was proud of you too. You were awesome.
Yeah.
So
I told somebody else that he made it easy too.
Yeah.
He can talk, man. He could do any of this.
There's nothing and there wasn't a door that he wasn't, or a road he wasn't willing to go down, and that makes things a lot easier. And it's an incredible story. I'm so happy that where Ben's at now, and it's definitely something to go and check out if you haven't already. And if you have, then you know what we're talking about. Now we're doing.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
So some of his actual family members reached out to me, and they said thank you, because we didn't actually even know that story. So that was huge, man. That was really neat to hear. Mm-hmm. But when his family reached out to me and said thank you for doing that, because I didn't know some of that meant a lot.
I was thinking about if it would have been me sitting in the chair during the interview, the conversation might have went in a different direction because Ben and I go back so far, but it was handled by the right guy. It was in good hands, and man, I was just really happy the job he did.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'd like to think that what I can do, that I'm kind of like irreplaceable, but no, man, you made me kind of obsolete. So appreciate that.
It's in the blood, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. So we're doing Knuckleball Sports now?
Knuckleball Primetime.
Knuckleball Primetime.
Episode 2.
I like it. We're going to talk about some, I don't want to say fringe sports, but maybe not so mainstream. We're going to talk some UFC later. I want to talk some WWE, because it's WrestleMania season, and that's not this weekend, but next, April 1st and 2nd. So it's pretty, the card is still coming together, but it's starting to look pretty strong. There's some neat things happening in the world of pro wrestling, and I'm going to do a deep dive of that maybe next week before WrestleMania. But there's some things that we're going to talk about as far as how these guys get paid. Before we get into those things, though, I want to mention that after 6 long weeks of crickets, finally, Tom Brady is back in the NFL.
Yes.
How did we survive?
I don't know, man. I was like, well, what about Giselle? Is she retiring too?
All the free agency started, like the Russell Wilson, when that started, I feel like when Brady was just stepping out at the wrong time. The league's too on fire. The competition is just too on fire right now, and his spark is just, his game's too at peak to really stop right now. Give it 2 more years, get you 1 more.
Why? Yeah. Why would you stop? I mean, like he's still doing it at such an elite level. Like so many athletes, maybe like that stuck around a year or two too long, and you get to see their decline and everything, and you don't want to see that. But with Brady, it's almost like I do want to see that, because I want to prove to me that you're actually human.
It was probably his kids too. Like his kids don't want to see him stop playing yet.
No,
you got to think about like being good and going home, retiring. Like, Dad, why you stop playing football?
Yeah,
and he's probably like, dang, why did I stop? And then so he's probably questioning himself. So he's probably like, man, let me get my ass back out there.
I just wonder why the retirement? Did he officially retired, right?
Yes.
You
you have to file papers and everything. Yeah.
That's a question mark for me. Like, did 3 weeks later or 2 weeks later you change your mind already?
My dad said he did the Michael Jordan.
In Brady's career, he's gotten a lot of do-overs. The tuck rule and some other things that have happened. They're like, Brady, you want to try that again? And so he's like, I don't think I'm going to retire. And they're like, sure. We didn't even we haven't even filed the paperwork yet. We were hoping that you would do this.
This is what I think it is. Brady's won in every era of competitive football besides Joe Montana days. I think if he gets one more in this, how intensified the league is right now, he's really, you can't argue the greatest ever in anything.
I don't think you can argue it now.
Oh, no, that train done left the station. He's the GOAT.
I think
there was a lot of argument, between him and when him and Peyton were going back and forth.
No, Peyton, nah.
How much of an advantage do you think? And this doesn't just go for Tom Brady. This goes for a lot of guys that are the all pros in the NFL. They didn't play college ball at a big school necessarily. Okay, and so Brady going to Michigan, Big Ten football is tough, but he didn't start. He didn't play a lot of games in Michigan, and so he didn't take those blows in college.
Oh,
and so I think like guys that go pro a year early, Stafford and stuff like that. They didn't get that extra year of tackling in the impact of football.
Yeah, wear on their body. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, so the elite guys, Russell Wilson, NC State, right?
Yep.
That's not a football powerhouse. It's Division I and all that, and they're in a great conference for football and everything, but they weren't playing against guys who are also playing on Sundays now.
Right.
That wasn't an SEC schedule,
Right.
So I wonder how much of an impact it is. I don't. It can't be zero. There's got to be a level of impact there.
There probably is something there. But what do you think the difference is between Tom and Brady? Peyton and Tom, like you were saying.
Just Peyton was the field general. He was a coach on the field. I know that sounds cheesy and cliche, but he was a coach on the field, and I don't think you get as much of that with Brady. You still get a lot of it with Brady. Don't get me wrong. But I was always a Manning guy. The jersey's hanging up right over there. I always liked Manning better. Because of the game management and the field general type stuff.
If you're putting those kind of levels on it, okay, because I'm going to use baseball as a reference here. In my coaching career, I was mostly the assistant coach. My friend Matt was the guy at the, so he had to be the more reserved one, and I got to be the rah-rah guy, okay? Peyton's the head coach. Manning, or Brady is an assistant coach who gets to fires guys up and say, let's go down the field. Let's go.
Right.
And I don't think he got a lot of that out of Manning. He acted like whatever happened on the field was exactly what he thought was going to happen anyway.
For sure. You see Brady, like you said, Brady like kind of dadding the players more and stuff, and Tom's that rah-rah guy, and if something's wrong, Tom's not gonna take that to the players and direct like Manny would. He's gonna go to the coaches. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I definitely get what you're saying.
And I do think it's two different types of leadership. Manning is more of a lead by example.
Yes.
But you've seen some of the videos where him and Jeff Saturday are getting into it on the sideline, where they're really getting after each other. But I agree. I think Brady's more of the let's go get him kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But that time period of football is one of my favorite time periods of football with the Ray Lewises and the AFC was just killing it back then.
Yeah. I can't say the greatest because like football is like last year might have been one of the greatest football seasons I've ever watched. Like it was just great.
In what way?
Just like the games and stuff. It was just good football to watch. It was just a lot of good football.
The playoffs definitely were.
Yeah, definitely were great playoffs.
Those were some of the best games.
This was one of the better seasons
Maybe ever.
I thought. Just one of the better seasons I thought.
Yeah.
Played all around.
Yeah,
wasn't a lot of injuries, not too many. Just it was good football.
And it's being accompanied by an offseason that's been pretty eventful, I would say, so far, too.
100%. Like you said, we got Brady coming back.
Yeah.
I think the 3 kill is insane. What are the Chiefs, I wonder what the Chiefs' odds are now. I haven't looked into that. But they did pick up Juju Smith. That's crazy to me.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Okay. You had the Rodgers, Willie Woney, and he ends up staying with Green Bay.
Yep.
I was really hoping that would be the case. I didn't want to see him in another jersey.
Matt Ryan to Indianapolis.
I would have put money on him retiring a Falcon.
That's why I thought he was going to retire. I thought
that's going to be weird seeing him in a different jersey.
Yeah.
And then what about Mariota filling the spot? I think that's well deserved.
Has he been in this league the whole time?
Yeah, he's been a great backup.
Okay, so he's like he made a Chase Daniel kind of career for himself so far.
For sure.
Yeah.
Chase Daniel could be an offensive coordinator somewhere though if he wanted to.
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I think he has been.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. But I heard that Chase Daniels is such a good backup quarterback that like teams are like, hey, we'll pay you good money to come be the backup. And
really?
Then he'll probably get into the offense and all that. So I think you'll see him later in life become an AC.
He's like the Bobby Bonilla of the NFL, still getting paid.
Well, he has a ring with
Saints.
He's always in the playoffs. Like if you just look on the sideline, Chase Daniels is on these playoffs teams. Like just around. I swear. Like there's Chase Daniels. I think he has one ring though with the Saints, and I
think he does have a ring.
He's been to the Super Bowl a lot.
I love the fact that we started off talking about NFL free agency, and we're talking about Chase Daniel right now. Mizou.
Yeah, but and then talking about Mizou and free agency, Drew Locke to the Seahawks. I don't think
I don't think I'd heard that one. Okay.
Yeah, he replaced Russell. They picked him up.
He's gonna take.
And I think in that trade they got Drew Locke and Noah Fant at tight end, and
good.
Like 3-round draft picks.
So going back to the Tyreek Hill thing real quick. Travis Kelce, triple team coverage all year next year. I mean, poor guy.
They got the receiver. Like I said, they got the receiver from Pittsburgh too. So
But
I don't know. What's Andy trying to do? They don't have I feel like their running back situation in Kansas City is iffy. So
is it a money thing? I don't know. Why? He's the most dynamic, one of the most dynamic players I've ever seen in my life.
Because the NFL is their salary and the cap and everything is so structured. You know exactly how much you got and exactly what you got to spend, and you know, and what position and all that. I had never even heard a whiff that Tyreek Hill was in any danger of being moved.
I thought it was a joke when I seen the graphic.
Yeah, what's the date today? Is it the 1st of April? No,
Yeah.
no.
Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins.
Listening to these young guys
hilarious.
talk, listening to Tyreek Hill's interview though, after he signed, you know, these young guys are only like 26, 27, so he's probably want to go live the limelight for a little bit, you know, party,
South
just
Beach.
play some football, you know.
Yeah,
That's kind of how he was talking. He's like, oh, I knew I was going to go into Miami the whole time, so. I
Wow.
don't know. He might be turning into Chad Johnson in the league, you know, just wants to catch some balls, get his money, and
so they have Drew Locke as QB number 1 in
Seattle. Yes.
So it's basically just a trade.
Pretty much straight up trade.
Yeah.
with Noah Fant.
I think
Fant's
bad on Seattle's half.
And so Deshaun Watson is now in Cleveland.
That's big, man.
What happens to Baker Mayfield?
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought Atlanta. See, I thought Atlanta, and then they signed Mariota. I'm like,
I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around Baker Mayfield. I thought he was a team guy,
Maybe
but now everybody's saying like they're glad that he's gone, and I
maybe
don't
he's
know.
a Chase Daniel.
I thought he was more than the Chase Daniel, but I'm not so sure anymore.
Texas Tech has produced some guys that were some
Mahomes.
Good. Yes, Mahomes, good college, and maybe not. It didn't translate because Manziel went there too.
So is that the thing? Mahomes is par now, and if you're not Mahomes, you're just bench. You know, that's not enough.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
That could be it. But at Baker's number 1 draft pick, I feel like you got to do more. You got to do a lot more.
Absolutely.
What has he
He's
done?
underperformed for sure.
He hasn't done, and he's had receivers.
Man, it has to be part of the curse of wearing that Browns jersey.
Put Deshaun Watson in Baker's shoes when Baker came into the league. Deshaun, they go to the playoffs 2 years, 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
The receivers are a little bit older, right?
Yes.
But they're still play at a high level.
They have
and
a great
especially
running
OBJ, right? We saw what he did in the playoffs and beyond.
Nick Chubb's top 3 running back.
And you have a running game and a pretty good defense.
Par defense for sure.
They underperformed to me. I had money on them winning the Super Bowl before the season started.
They look good. I think age-based team and like between older to vets, that's probably the best sound team, like the Browns, and they just did nothing with it. And I think it starts with the quarterback. You know, he just don't bring that rah, rah, rah. Like, no, it's hard to be Brady, but you got to be a general out there. You know, I don't ever see Baker doing that besides within himself when he's throwing a bad ball or something. So I think Deshaun's going to bring a different aspect to the Browns. I like the Browns.
Either way, I think with the Manning and Brady debate, neither one of them would make good coaches a head coach anyway, because it is hard to coach someone when you're the greatest of all time at it. Like Larry Bird had a real hard time being a head coach because he's like, these guys, practice was over and they all left. Like, where's the drive to stay afterwards and not leave till you make 50 in a row or whatever, you know? Or like, go out there and do what I did. Michael Jordan wouldn't be a good head coach because he's like, why can't you just go out and score 56 a night?
I was going to say, that's why Michael don't do it. That's why he's sitting up in the booth, puts $100 million on Charlotte Hornets and slapping the players on the neck and stuff because, you know, he can't deal with that.
Wasn't he
in baseball
tapping too or somebody?
Ted Williams was trying to be the hitting coach for the Texas Rangers when they first started as a franchise, and he's like, I can't. He quit before his first year. He's like, none of these guys are going to hit 400.
You can't relate to him.
Right.
No, it's hard.
No, being a great player doesn't very often translate to being a good coach.
In anything. But yeah, this is Knuckleball Podcast, episode 2. what is it, Friday night we're recording. We got some NCAA basketball going on, cheering for we got a tie game, North Carolina, UCLA, talking a little bit of football free agency. We're going to go to a little break, talk a little bit more of that, and we're going to dive into some different sports. And this is Knuckleball Primetime Podcast.
Hey, this is Chad from the Barn, and this video is brought to you by Reynolds Landscaping and Lawn Care. Contact Shane Reynolds at 573-516-2387 today for a free bid and to schedule your projects. Retaining walls, paving stone patios and walkways, fire pits, mulch, rock, flower beds, install drains, cutting yards, and more. Contact Shane Reynolds at Reynolds Landscaping and Lawn Care at 573-516-2387 for a free bid and to schedule your projects.
It's WrestleMania season. We're going to talk about the UFC, and one of the things that got us talking about the UFC and that ended up leading to me wanting to talk about WWE right now is how these guys get paid. There is right now in Congress a bill to eliminate Vince McMahon's ability to employ these guys as independent contractors. No one actually works for WWE, but they do have to sign exclusive contracts, and they can't go compete with the rival company or just go on the weekends and go do a house show for one of their buddies who's trying to start a promotion. Vince don't let them do that. But what he also doesn't let them do is have health insurance. He doesn't provide things like that for them, And these guys are responsible for their own expenses on the road. He has them traveling 300 days a year all over the world and, twice on Sundays. And they are responsible for their own rental cars to get to and from the arena. They are responsible for their own hotel rooms on the road, their own food, their own airline tickets. If they get hurt, there's no insurance to fall back on. They could be replaced while they're at home rehabbing and come back to find out their spot has been taken by somebody else. And because they're an independent contractor, they're just out of work, just like that, just getting hurt. So the rush to come back, prematurely has really shortened a lot of careers. I'm glad the WWE is now in a position where, every other week there's not a story about a wrestler death because, my gosh, that was a plague on that industry.
Steroids and suicide, I think.
Was suicide a lot, the same issues that football players face with the CTE, is a prevalent in wrestlers too.
Yep.
And it's a lot more regulated. It's a lot safer now than it used to be. I think recently was the anniversary of the day that Owen Hart died.
Oh wow!
I was watching a video the other day, and it was a famous last words. And I think I might have mentioned this on a previous show that like Princess Diana and Bobby Kennedy had the same last words. Is anyone else hurt? John Belushi and Chris Farley had the same last words. Don't leave me alone. And that's really sad, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But Owen Hart's last words as he fell to his death in Kansas City was "get out of the way," because the referee was standing in the corner that he was about to fall on. So his last thoughts were to save somebody.
Oh. And
that's really neat. I mean, not neat, right? So I'm glad that those aren't, or the Chris Benoit story, that's not what is headlines about WWE anymore. But I would really like to see this bill that's just sitting in committee make its way through Congress and at least be brought up for some debate, because the way that some of these wrestlers are treated, there's not even in the WWE, you can't even call them wrestlers. They are sports entertainers.
So how does he get away with that then?
It's a loophole. It's just like, and of course, if you're running a business, a multi-billion-dollar business, that's publicly traded like his is, you're going to take advantage of, you're going to have all these lawyers and all these accountants and all these, people that are able to take advantage of every one of these loopholes. And I think what people are trying to do now is close that loophole. Once you get hurt, because you're an independent contractor, once you get hurt, you're not getting paid. You still get your merchandise money, but the way that you get to, people aren't going to buy your T-shirt if you're not wrestling that night.
Right.
So what about other endorsements? Are they
No,
because UFC has that a little bit.
no. Brock Lesnar's the only one that's allowed to do that because he has a special,
He probably gave Vince some money. Sounds like
you
some
would.
McMahon
I mean,
pocket change to me.
Brock Lesnar puts asses in seats is what he does, and he is the main attraction. He's in the main event at WrestleMania next weekend.
So
and
it's probably something he negotiated to get into his contract.
especially to come back because he was there and left.
All right.
And then like, oh, if you're gonna let me, do all this traveling and make me do all this stuff, then this is what you're gonna do for me. The wrestlers aren't allowed to have their own their own TikTok. They have to go through the WWE to do that.
Really?
There's another media platform that it's like a personal message from people. I don't remember what the thing was called, but Vince McMahon monetized those, but not allow people to use like their real names.
I don't agree with that.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Same with I don't agree with the health, the insurance, and stuff like that. Anyways, because entertaining people with these fights and stuff, and even the WWE, it's not as barbaric as the UFC.
Yes,
but,
right.
Jumping off things and all that to entertain other people. You still got to, reconcile that lump sum of that scare of people getting hurt. You got to put some money into their pocket when you got it, just like Dana and Vince do. So I don't agree with it when they're hiding their money, people's health and stuff. And I don't know, they just got to put themselves in them shoes, and it's got to change for sure.
The reason why I brought it up is because this is the time of the year for even for the lapsed, I guess, wrestling fan to kind of at least be kind of aware of what's going on because it's WrestleMania season. It's
Triple H retired. I saw that.
Triple H retired today. One of my favorites growing up.
Me too. That was my day. DX and all that.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy was.
We just lost.
Yep. Swanton Bomb was my favorite.
The bad guy. All right. I've always been a fan of the heel. Okay. I love when the guy can go out and take a microphone, piss off 25,000 people, and people will pay hard-earned money to come and see you get your ass whooped, and get your comeuppance. You know what I mean? For the good guy to finally get his hands on him, right?
That's how the Miz was
takes
too.
So much talent. Yes, right. Here's the microphone. Can you go piss everybody off? And Jericho goes, "Yeah, man, give me that." That's awesome, right? So we lost one of the best heels of all time,
for sure.
Scott Hall, right? The Razor Ramon, the bad guy.
Yeah,
right?
I'm a big fan of DDP.
Yeah, saved his life, man.
Yeah,
I mean, extended it anyway.
Yeah, I think somebody even said that we would have lost Scott Hall a long time ago if it wasn't for DDP and what DDP has done for Jake the Snake.
Yes,
taking and sometimes even like living in his living in DDP's house in Atlanta.
There is an art form to the storytelling of a wrestling match. How you build to a crescendo and the near falls, like the 1-2 kick out, and leading to that big finish. Okay. And there are a few people who get it from jump. Scott Hall got it. And man, he, as Razor Ramon, it was like must see TV Saturday mornings growing up, was to see the bad guy come out with that badass entrance music.
Yeah.
Right. Come out just with toothpick in his hand and he flicking in your face, man. Fuck yeah, man, Scott Hall.
And he was always a bad guy.
Always a bad guy.
You know how they'll sometimes turn.
They'll tease, and even when the crowd's kind of cheering for him, they're still doing the bad guy shit, Yeah. But then him and Kevin Nash, they changed the game as the Outsiders and NWO. That's been 25 years ago now. It's crazy when you put the number on it like that. But
what you're kind of explaining as far as like the independent contractor work. That sounds like slave labor to me.
Man, isn't it?
You know what I mean? Like how greedy are you that you can't, because and UFC catches a lot of slack for how they pay their fighters, but they're at least in contracts.
Yes.
And what you're talking about is what I do when I need a plumber to come to my house. He's not my employee.
No, right.
I pay him. I don't pay for his insurance. I don't pay for
right. And you would kind of want to think that it's because WWE became a publicly traded company and there's a board of directors they answer to and stockholders they answer to and everything like that now. But this is how it's always been. It was like that when it was a private company too. And I don't know what the government can really step in and do. We have antitrust laws and stuff like that, monopoly busting. But it's not a monopoly. There was plenty of wrestling competition out there, not at that level, but how many people are at Walmart's level, So
We talk movies sometimes on here. That's a good one for you. The Wrestler, DJ. You ever seen The Wrestler?
Mm-mm.
So I think The Wrestler was loosely based on Jake the Snake, right?
There was like it was kind of like Crazy Heart was kind of a mashup of like Chris Christopherson and Willie Nelson and all these guys.
Yeah.
And I think The Wrestler was kind of a mashup of like Jake the Snake, Mick Foley, you know, and guys like
I
that.
love
You
Mick
know,
Foley.
the guys that were, you know, not in the main event, but like the second to third match of the night kind of guys, you know.
That wrestling of the 80s and the 90s holds a special place in my heart, man. And we're actually getting ready to have Mitch Bailey. Remember Mitch? From
Yeah.
He's gonna come on here and talk a little of those old times, and we're gonna talk wrestling for sure because he's a huge Ultimate Warrior fan, which was my favorite. And actually, I think he met Jake the Snake and stuff. So we're gonna talk about some of those 80s and 90s wrestling days.
I'll come and share my Goldberg story that day.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that was it involves talk about Ric Flair. I mean, that was the conversation I had with Goldberg was about Ric Flair.
Yeah,
so,
What's up?
So it's WrestleMania season. I don't watch it as much as I read about it, but mostly I want to stay up to date on the storylines and everything. If something I'm reading catches my attention, I'll go watch a YouTube video of it or something. Sure. WrestleMania looks like it's going to be a pretty stacked card. I keep waiting for there to be an NWO Stone Cold kind of moment that's going to suck me back in and make it must-see TV every Monday night again. That's why I wanted to talk about it because, you know, it might be this WrestleMania. There's going to be a moment. There's going to be a moment that's going to suck me back in.
This is a good plug-in for the shout out the Birds and Swords podcast, the video games pod. They say that right now the WWE video game that's out right now is one of the better ones. So
really?
Yeah,
we'll
if
see.
Mike and them could do a review on that. Maybe that'd be good. I know I was probably gonna buy if it gets down to they put a lot off on it. I'm gonna buy it, but my buddy Wade plays it and says it's pretty good.
What had happened was WWE 2K20 really fell on its face. It had a lot of errors, you know, and a lot of glitches in it and everything, and it got really bad reviews. So bad that there is no WWE 2K21. They just scrapped it. Said we're just going to revamp everything and put it all on 22. And everything that I've heard and everything that I've seen online, and I haven't played it yet, but everything I've seen, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, people say it's the best one.
Yeah.
And I loved all the WWEs. I haven't played the 2021s, but the years that we loved wrestling, I feel like it really fell off like 2012-ish, 2014.
Do they have the trailer for that? Or you've seen some like gameplay
I've
of
seen
it?
some gameplay on some.
Yeah,
the game's out.
So we'll put that on Birds and Swords Facebook group.
Yes,
for sure.
We'll put that video on there so everybody can see because
it's
great.
those old wrestling games.
I want to give that a shout out too, Mike. It was good to hear from you.
Yeah, it was. I love video games. Are a big part of my life, especially sports video games. Play a lot of PGA. I'm gonna get the WWE. I play a lot of UFC.
There is a different pay structure and different things allowed in the UFC that don't happen in the WWE.
This past weekend was a UFC fight night over in London, and it was one of the best ever. And they sold out the arena. They sold out OZ Stadium or O2 Stadium, within like minutes or something. And the fight night was, they say, and I watched it, it was one of the best ever. It could have been a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Part of the reason is Paddy the Baddy, which is, you know, kind of this new Conor McGregor. His pay was $12,000.
Oh, man.
$12,000 to win, which he did. And then he got a bonus.
Okay, and I'm going to stop you right there. Which the bonus is 50. So I did learn that, you know, Paddy and the people like that, they sign into the UFC. And then, you know, say like a McGregor, like he got up and blew up in the lightweight and stuff. And then went and won in the weight class before. Then he gets that, you know, the Bellator, or not Bellator, but these camps wanting to buy into him to fight for their camp. That's kind of what Paddy's waiting on, you know, just someone to offer him. But he can't do that until he fights all his fights, that first little contract under the UFC. Right. He has to finish up.
I want to, what I thought about when you were saying that is that if you want to use boxing as a frame of reference, those are purses that heavyweights fought for the title for back in the 40s and 50s.
Exactly. And like, again, somebody walks in this door right now and says, here's $12,000. We're going to be like, yeah, we'll take that. Yeah. But some of these guys they fight twice a year. $12,000 sounds like a lot. And to win, you know, it sounds like he had a nice little night. But what if he doesn't win?
Mm-hmm. Right.
What if he doesn't win Fight of the Night? He walks away with $12,000 that he has to pay his coaches.
Yes. Training. Yeah. Camp.
but the UFC doesn't provide those things.
Right.
Nutritionist, all that. So it's insane to me because this was a fight night, so it wasn't a pay-per-view, and it sold out. It was wildly popular, and he's the co-main event, and some people said he probably should have been the main event. For him to walk away, he could have walked away with $12,000 is insane.
That is awesome, because I came into this conversation not knowing a lot about the rate, and was going to come in and throw at you, hey, they have these incentives that other sports don't have, knockout of the night, submission of the night, fight of the night.
Yeah,
one of the things that spoiled boxing for me is that there's no prize in prize fighting anymore. These guys know what they're going to make going into the fight, win, lose, or draw. Sure. And that's not the case with the UFC. And that's one of the things that, is something like a foundation of the sport,
Yes.
And it should be.
I agree.
But there should be some zeros added to it,
Yeah, that's what we're missing is the zeros and the commas.
Right. I'm a baseball guy, and baseball just went through a 100-day lockout. And so it's owners and players fighting over the pie. And the thing I kept screaming is, hey, man, don't forget who the pie is, because it's me and you and you and you, the fans, right? And I've never bought a ticket because of who owned the team. So I want the players to get every win they can get. It scared me for a little bit. I thought we were going to lose time. I thought we were going to lose games. It wasn't going to be a 162-game season, but, man, they were able to come together, get something done. Baseball is back. I was listening to the crack of the bat the other day just in the spring training game. It was like, oh, you hear that? You hear that? You hope that the UFC starts taking those to another level and start adding some zeros. Let the guys get a portion of the gate, something, merchandise, something kind of percentage.
I think a lot of the UFC brand and what they're going for is to try to get away, because how many years went by where it was regarded as sort of this underground thing, the Tank Abbott days.
Yes.
And they've, with commissions and Dana White being a huge part of the growth of that sport, and not sport, but of that company.
When you hear about it being sold and there's a B in the price tag.
Right.
We just got to do more. Just as an owner, like if I had the opportunity, if I had the stage that Dana had, being worth $500 million, stuff like that, and like that kind of platform with my business, I'm gonna throw $100 million of my money into it for these fighters and stuff, and that's gonna bring you more fighters into your business to create your revenue without even thinking about it.
And what I was saying is, like, if you want to play with the big boys, you really want to be a sport. When you start talking about baseball, football, NFL, if you really want to play with the big boys, you got to pay your guys, man.
I don't know. It goes NFL, UFC to me. So he's doing his thing, but he could pay more money
because it's still, I think, from like in a teenager's frame of reference, it would be like a fallback. You're wanting to bank it in the football and the basketball and the other sports first. And then if it doesn't work out, maybe I'll try fighting.
Right.
But if these guys growing up saying, I want to be a fighter from jump, you know what I mean? And because there's such a hyper focus on kids at a younger and younger age to focus on one sport more than there ever has been before.
I got a question. This just popped in my head. So think of the golf purse and think of a fighter main event. Why does a golfer get paid $5 million for first place? And 1 through 10 gets paid almost $1 million, and then the average fighter gets paid less than 50 grand.
Boxing, NASCAR, they pay their guys.
A rising tide raises all the boats.
Hey,
so the reason why these golfers are making millions of dollars to finish in 43rd place is because of Tiger Woods, and because he brought in this level of sponsorship from these corporations that never been there before. So there's this influx of money, and everybody's salary went up. These guys can think of Tiger as a rival.
I didn't think
these guys can think of Tiger Woods as a rival.
So what about
McGregor? Everybody got paid because Tiger Woods was good.
McGregor did that. Dude, I remember when cards used to be like 50, when I first started watching UFC 3 years ago, it was $50, and now they're every bit of $70 to $80.
75 just the other night we bought it.
Yeah.
McGregor is in the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He brought that sport to a whole nother level, or that company to a whole nother level.
So I think there's money there, man.
Right. That's why that I don't care how many rings anybody wins.
McGregor, Khabib.
I mean, Michael Jordan is the GOAT because of what he did beyond the Bulls. And for a league to just raise it to a international level.
Look at the shoe.
The Dream Team is what led to Yao Ming. You know what I mean? Like, their impact, and his impact worldwide. And everybody's salary got to go up because of that, and that's what the GOAT does.
And that's definitely true for Tiger. What would golf be like? Say we had this magic wand and got rid of Tiger, and there was never any Tiger. It would probably still be that old boring man sport that not a lot of played, and a lot of younger people thought was cool
right now.
Here's how you just break down Tiger's impact. When fantasy sports started becoming a bigger thing and everything, and there was fantasy golf. The rule was everybody gets Tiger or nobody gets Tiger. Really? I mean, that was
true?
Yes.
Wow.
That was, right. It was like when you play Tecmo Bowl, no fair being the Raiders because it had Bo Jackson. It just wasn't fair, and so that everybody gets Tiger score, and then your guys, and then or nobody gets it. Right. and it was. I thought that was an interesting. They're like, wow, what if they did that with any other sport?
Is he the GOAT in golf?
Yeah. And I'm not even being biased, but I watch a lot of golf videos and a lot of different guys to compare different things and stuff. But I mean, Tiger's different.
Like the only argument's Jack Nicklaus.
Yes.
Yeah, and I respect this story.
Yes, absolutely. That's the only head to head. That's Mount Rushmore. That's who you would start Mount Rushmore with of golf, right?
But Tiger's putt game was just different. That's why I respect Tiger, and that's the hardest thing about golf. And it just made it look easy.
It's hard. Hey, man, when golf is the only thing you do from age 3, you should be good, though, right? Yeah. I mean, Tiger Woods didn't have a paper route and then try to squeeze in 9 holes, okay? Right. He just played golf. Yeah. But the equipment that Tiger was able to use versus what Arnold Palmer or Jack Nicklaus had available to him,
Right.
It's kind of like wood bats versus aluminum, I mean, it's just so different now. You can't even break clubs anymore. I've tried.
I need to do like a science thing and like put them back in their prime and like run them through like 18 generated or something. That'd be cool.
I think he is the GOAT.
Who?
Tiger.
Oh yeah.
Tiger. I do. And if you look at Nicklaus's record, it's crazy. And how many second places he had in majors.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. And you're like, oh man, their argument is, well, he has more majors. Mm-hmm. If you're going just based purely on that. So the argument's definitely there, but I think you got to give it to Tiger. Like
I think Tiger's light just shone brighter. You know what I mean? Like
the game,
like a comet versus an asteroid. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? A shooting star that's just boom, it's gone real quick, but man, it was bright. Or a comet that's way far away, you can still see. Might be there for a little longer.
Like Tiger's 7 and his putting game was just different. Like them iron cuts. Like geez, like. You don't go out and try to everyone tries to go out and try to hit like Tiger and you can't be it.
The video game was named after him. Mm-hmm. That wasn't a Jack Nicklaus PGA Tour game. And I bring that up because I'm looking at a Tony Hawk skateboard there. And who else's name would have been on a skateboard game?
And think of it like that. Like they're always gonna try to recreate Tiger. Like you don't see you never saw a Jack Nicklaus PGA in. Someone else from back in the day be on the cover. Now you see Rory on the cover, and the guys that face Tiger. People that try to live up to that name.
But you still call it Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
you got the new edition of Tiger Woods golf.
Yeah, it's called PGA 21.
I know, no, but it'll always be Tiger Woods to me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That ain't harps. That's country mark.
Before Tiger, like golfers like actually working out and hitting the gym was almost frowned upon because the argument was you lose mobility and you're not able to move as much because you have muscle. Look at golfers now. Most of those dudes are jacked up.
Oh yeah, and they said
fit.
And they said Tiger was lifting, and that's why golfers lift now and stuff.
Yeah, just watch some old 80s, early 90s golf. One, you'll fall asleep because it's boring as can be. But look at just how their bodies are. Tiger started coming in and bulking up, and he's hitting at 300-something yards, and people are like
200.
You're like, well, I'm laying back with 220. I need to do something here. And the equipment was part of that, but he was the first true athlete. It seemed like to have a lot of success.
And just impact on the game. Like I said, if I never seen a Tiger Woods video, I don't think I ever would have tried to pick up a club.
It was John Daly for me. Belle Reve, the U.S. Open. Went and played golf for the first time that next weekend.
That dude's a man, too.
Also, just about Tiger Woods. And just remember that Tiger Woods' life got blown up, not because he was having an affair, but because the woman he was having an affair with found out that she wasn't the only woman that he was having an affair with.
My mistress's mistress.
She didn't get mad because she was the side piece. She got mad when she found out she wasn't the only side piece.
Yeah, and if
injuries too. how violent his swing was. It caused all these back injuries, all these knee injuries he had. You know, he had a lot of injuries. I think the majors would be up there. He missed a lot of majors and wasn't at his best on a lot of majors. So I think his major number would be higher.
Hey, quick, in case you didn't know, WrestleMania this year is being headlined by some pretty cool things. They're going to do a title unification bout between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Cody Rhodes, who founded AEW, WWE's chief competitor now, he was released by his own company and has now re-signed with WWE and will be coming back at WrestleMania. Also coming back at WrestleMania this year, the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
And is expected to get physical. He has been training. Kevin Owens has started using the Stone Cold Stunner as his finishing move, at first with Austin's blessing, but now without. He said that he was okay with not having a match in WrestleMania because it was going to be in Texas anyway. He didn't want to wrestle in front of the rednecks anyway. And Stone Cold took that personally, and now he's coming to whoop Kevin Owens' ass. So Stone Cold coming back this year at WrestleMania, and I'm sure there's a couple more surprises coming too.
And we're going to release something. You're going to do a little solo thing about a little preview.
Yeah, well, we're going to have DJ's friend is going to
Jake Jackson. Yeah, he's going to come on and talk some wrestling.
All right.
Yeah, I'll have him come on with you and talk.
Duh. And when he doesn't expect it, bam, heel turn. I'm going to hit him with the steel chair, and he's not even going to see it coming.
Get some liquid dust. Get some liquid dust to the forehead in here.
Liquid Death, coffee roaster. All the fucking promos.
The barn.
The barn, baby.
The barn. Knuckleball prime time.
Birds and swords. The wellness investors, baby. Swerving. All that. Vulgar.
Girl dad.
When's Vulgar dropping again? Episode 2, Knuckleball Primetime Podcast. Catch Vulgar, catch the wellness investors, catch the barn, catch Dwayne, catch me, catch Chad, catch
new Twitter, new Gram.
We got new Twitter. We got Knuckleball PT Pod on Twitter, and I'll get the Instagram going this week. And then the Vulgar has got the new Twitter too.
Yep.
So Vulgar Display Pod on Twitter,
and we're gonna put all those on the link tree, so they'll go to one site and have access to all of them
for sure. So yeah, get that rolling. On the Knuckleball Primetime Pod Twitter, we posting some bets, just funny memes and stuff. Upcoming episodes, guests and times, upcoming events like WrestleManias, things and stuff to watch like that. Things we're watching, and just stay tuned on things. Dwayne,
yeah, man, hit me with some horns, Chad.
I think that's how you play it.
Want a shot at the title? I'm in my knuckleball prime. My dogs are tired, but they still got fight. I won't hang it out, boys. Not this time. I'm hitting all the corners, gonna shed some light. When she hits that note, boys, it's all done.